So, good night everyone. Today we have the great opportunity to talk to Nick Steward from the brand GALLIVANT. I'm just waiting for him to tune in as well, and then we can just start having some fun and asking him some questions. For people who don't know us, maybe just a short introduction about ourselves. So my name is Kurt, and
hi, I'm Stefan. Hope you're all well.
This is Stefan, and together with the founders of Perfumery Smell Stories, located in Brussels. And in fact, a journalist called us, described our store or us this week as quirky, because apparently we are the only store in Belgium that carries that many brands nobody has ever heard of. So that's quite a compliment for us. And a bit of shame for all the nice brands we have in our store, I think. Anyways, there I see Nick coming in. And I'll just see if I can up. All goes well normally.
Hello. Hello, guys.
Hi, Nick.
Good evening.
Good evening. Nice to see you.
Hello.
How are
You too. I'm a little bit hot.
It's been 35 degrees in Brussels today.
Okay.
And they predict.
Yeah, I think we're 33.
Okay.
So yeah.
And it will remain the same for the next day. So yeah.
Yeah. But we shouldn't complain because it doesn't happen that often. So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So welcome to the show. It's an honor to have you
Thank
here.
you. Thank you for having me.
I
wish I was in Brussels in the flesh, but in the meantime, you just got me over Instagram.
Yeah. So sadly enough, we had to cancel the live event in March, but everybody knows why, probably.
Yeah.
So I already introduced ourselves to the audience just before we.
Hello.
So you coming up. Maybe just a short introduction for the people who don't know you.
Yes.
You are. So I don't know if you want to do it yourself.
You can say it. You'll say nicer things than I will.
So you're Nick Steward, the founder of the brand GALLIVANT, which was founded about 3 years ago, I think.
I launched in 2017.
2017, exactly. And before that, you were the creative director of L'Artisan Parfumeur, which is
that's right. Yes, I was.
Perfume brand. You live in London.
Yes, I do.
And if I'm correct, you just came back from a holiday.
I did. Can you tell? I look relaxed, I think.
Relaxed,
So I've just been in Croatia. So that was it's a very beautiful country. I was very happy to be able to travel at the moment. A change of air was very welcome.
Yeah. Traveling is not that obvious for a lot of people at the moment, I think. So could you get out? You could get out a bit. So maybe first question: if you go out to Croatia, and I think you visited cities like Dubrovnik, do you plan your trip already with in your mind that you would like to create a perfume about that, or is it just no?
No, I don't. I'm never really that. I'm not planning in that way. I'm always choosing cities in a very intuitive, very natural way. I think if I go to somewhere with the idea of doing a perfume, it's a bit too much pressure on the place, on me. So I rather do places when the spirit comes. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe in order to get to know you a little bit better, I would like to present you with a couple of dilemmas, and you just two words of two expressions, and then you just say which of both you prefer. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Yeah.
Okay. So early bird or night crawler?
Nightcrawler, definitely.
Okay, that's clear. Cats or dogs?
That's quite hard, but probably I'm more cats. Yeah, cats, yeah.
Okay.
But I love both.
Okay. Chips or pasta?
Ooh, neither. But do I have to choose?
Well, what would you
probably chips? I like fish. I like fish and chips. So yeah, chips. Yeah.
What's your favorite dish then? In general.
Oh God, fresh seafood.
Okay, I like that as well. So that's a good choice, and it's perfect weather for it. So, yeah, summer or winter?
Summer. Yeah, I much prefer the heat.
Okay. Organized or chaotic?
Ooh, probably a little bit chaotic then. Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm not terribly disorganized. So yeah, I think I'm quite well balanced. I hope.
Somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Going to the gym or watching a series on television?
Watching TV. Yeah.
Okay. Sneakers or brogues?
Sneakers.
Sneakers. So rational, intuitive. You already mentioned that you are quite intuitive in your approach. So maybe that's obvious. I think flowers or woods?
Oh, again, that's really tough. But if I have to choose, I want to say flowers. I love flowers. Okay. The smells, looking at them. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, they are beautiful. Is somebody else wanting to raise a question to Nick? Now is the moment. I'm not sure. We see a lot of posts coming in, but no question. No questions at the moment. No. Talk a bit more about the GALLIVANT brand. What's specific about it, and something that struck me when I go through your website and I read all the information that's on it. There's one word that pops up quite often, and that's the word simple. And you don't see that on a lot of other websites from other brands. So what do you mean by that? Why is GALLIVANT a simple brand?
Yeah, I think first of all, perfume is really complicated. We've made it really complicated. We have this vocabulary that's really specific. Often people don't really know what we mean. Fougère, chypre, all these things. To me, sometimes it's a little bit impenetrable. So I really, with GALLIVANT, and probably because I came from l'artisan parfumeur, I wanted to create something pleasurable. And that's why I'd say simple, because I don't think perfumery needs to be really complicated to be beautiful. I think the fragrances are deceptively simple. They're really grand compositions. But also know that, I work with a very special company in France called Arrêt Parfum in Grasse. That's where I make all of my oils. And that was founded by the perfumer Edmund Runitsker. And Edmund Runitker's philosophy was simplify, simplify, simplify. So it doesn't mean they're basic perfumes, but it means that you have to be clear and precise in the composition. So that's really the philosophy of the kind of perfumery I'm trying to do. So not basic, but simple. And you know what?
Question, because in Flemish, when you say
and doing something,
it has two connotations.
Yeah. So, yeah. And doing something simple is really difficult.
Yeah. It's writing a book. It's like.
In many ways, it's easier to keep adding stuff. And you have to really be strict to say, no, remove things. You don't need lots of flourishes. You need the essential. So that's what I mean by simple.
Okay. Another word that's coming back on your website is the word human. So a human scale brand. Can you explain a little bit if you would describe the company on a human scale, what does that mean exactly? Is it you, or is it
I think it's, first of all, we are a very small human company. So I think with a lot of brands, the brands that you'll carry in your store, people often don't realize, often we're one or two people in the brand.
Yeah.
It's not like there are 50 people. So sometimes when I get questions, customers say to me, "Oh, I can't believe you've responded." And I sort of think, well, you think there's another department that's going to respond? So, I want that. I think that perfume needs to be more simple and pleasurable and human scale again. Okay. I mean, yesterday when I was flying home, for example, I walked through duty free. And honestly, I was not inspired to smell any of the perfumes because I just found it so boring. It's so corporate. It all looks the same. It all smells the same. It has no personality. So I think for the attraction, I hope, of us little, small, independent brands is that the individuality is because we're very human. Yeah. We're doing it because we love what we do. It's our passion. It doesn't really feel like a job. It's what we've chosen to do in our life. So that's what I mean by human. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Nick, we just got a question in regarding your oils. Are you going to extend them to all your perfumes? Somebody is asking.
It's a very good question. I've tried to do all of them, but to be really honest, the oil is not the same as the alcohol. So the alcohol carries the top notes better, to be frank. So, for example, Brooklyn and Berlin, I don't think they work very well in the oil. Okay. Los Angeles, I would love to do, and I started it just before the middle of March, and then, of course, everything stopped. So I don't have a supplier to do the oil with yet. I'll have to find a new way of doing it. So that's been one of the challenges. I'm sure that question will come up. What are the challenges of lockdown? The challenges of lockdown are that production is very difficult, and the whole supply chain for small businesses is really disrupted. So hopefully Los Angeles, but not all of them can translate.
Okay. Thank you. Now we're talking about the whole pandemic. So we have a lot of friends and ourselves who have seen their holiday cancelled or changed or having to change plans. The brand GALLIVANT is about traveling. Did it have kind of an impact, or how did you look upon that? Because
that's a really interesting question, because while I'm obviously inspired by travel, hopefully people realize that GALLIVANT is also something you can do on your doorstep. It's really about being curious about the world, not necessarily having to travel physically to other places. So I've always had customers that have said to me, listen, I don't travel anymore. I'm not in a place in my life where I want to do long distance flights. So I hope that our perfumes are also a form of armchair travel for people. And that's true now more than ever. The other thing I'd like to say is, it's a frame of mind. So, I haven't traveled all year until I've just been to Croatia. But I've been going for lots of walks around London. And I love to walk. It's one of the things I feel really happy about every day. And I notice, I've been to areas on long walks at night in London. So I've even discovered bits of London I didn't know, and I'm a Londoner. So you can explore every day.
So will you have to adapt the formula of the Perfume London then with your new experiences that you've had, or? I
won't change the formula, but it certainly makes me think about my own city in a different way. So maybe I can do another London perfume, but just a different neighborhood, a different side of the city.
Because this one is very floral, the London one now?
It is. If I was technologically advanced enough, I'd put my phone out my window and I'd show the roses in the front gardens in my street. So sometimes people say to me, why a rose for London? And there are really two reasons. It's because, first of all, we think of the English rose as a certain archetype of beauty, which I wanted to twist a little bit. And then second of all, there are a lot of rose bushes in my street. So it's really true. London is, this climate, this soil is good for roses. Yeah.
So your interpretation of a city is also very, very personal then, because London is,
I mean, that's true with all. That's true with all of them. I think, you know, I never want to claim that this is what Los Angeles smells like. This is what Istanbul smells like. These are my little postcard impressions. These are my memories of these places. And for other people, their memories are different. So, you know, when someone says to me, I don't think Tel Aviv smells like that, then you know what, that's true as well. So they're really personal stories,
Exactly. Yeah, sometimes we have customers coming in store smelling one of the perfumes and then they say, it reminds me of a different city, which is fine as well. I think so. Why not?
Nick, you were talking about postcards, and we got some postcards from you, like this one. What does it refer to?
So this is Los Angeles. So this is an amazing home on the hillside up in the Hollywood Hills.
And you were there, or?
Yeah, and you know, I love architecture. I actually, where my studio is, they're all architects. So perhaps in another life, I wish I'd been an architect. But you know, I love looking at houses, and I love these dry hillsides that you get in places like Los Feliz in Los Angeles. So that was just one of the things on the mood board that I wanted to then try and put into the fragrance. So you know, when I'm working with the perfumer, with Corinne, you know, often I just show her photographs I've taken from places and say, say very little. I let the photographs speak.
Because like this,
that was actually the photograph that started.
Wow, this is an amazing picture. So this, when you took yourself.
That was the first photograph that I sent to Corinne to say, should we do a Los Angeles perfume?
Okay, so we have it up here. You received a very high award for this perfume. Very prestigious award. So congrats with that.
No, that was a nice moment to savor.
Probably, So we'll just try it again. And it's really complex. And this is one of the perfumes that really, to me, explains a bit your approach, because all of your perfumes are like stories or travels to a city. They start somewhere and then you move along and then they end somewhere. Is that a specific approach, or is it something you really think about when you create a fragrance?
Yes, I really do. I mean, you know, fragrances, obviously I love books. You can see I have a lot of books in my house. I love reading. And things to me should have a beginning, a middle, and an end. A journey has a beginning, a middle, and an end. You know, we think of a perfume in a pyramid, traditionally, as you know. And that really reflects the composition and the chemistry of perfumery. So I like a feeling of vibration in a perfume. I like a feeling of music, harmony, ups and downs. Things shouldn't be linear and flat. So I hope you feel that in all of the perfumes, but I think Los Angeles in particular really evolves on skin. And I don't think customers should be afraid that the perfume evolves on them. You know, I love it when I smell Los Angeles on other people. And the sillage of it, and you know what? Often it's really interesting for me to smell it on other people, because of course everyone's chemistry is going to make it slightly different.
And it's mixed with your own skin.
Your diet, you know, your skin tone. So I love it when perfume smells different on people.
Okay. So this is a perfume that you've been working on for quite a long while, I think. It's not just something that you came up with a couple of months ago.
No. It took 4 years, so probably a little bit too long.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so we started it in the autumn, the fall of 2015.
Wow.
And we launched it this time last year. So yeah, a bit too long, but I think worth it because it seems to be very well loved by people. And it's funny because I've worn it a lot this last week, and the friends I was with basically stole my bottle and they started wearing it. And it was lovely to smell it on them, just walking around the islands at night and getting the sillage off it. Again, I get a different experience from when I wear it myself. So yeah, it's a very fun, very interesting perfume, and it's so different on different people.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Nick, we got a question in. How do you select your perfumer that you're going to work with?
Again, I'm going to sound like I'm quite lazy, but very intuitively. So, you know, I'm friends with these people, and I know sometimes in industries people say never work with friends. I'm the opposite. I love working with friends because, you know, with someone like Karine, who I've known a long time, and we're close. Sometimes we don't even have to say it. There's a sort of telepathy, and in perfumery, you know, it's very emotional. Sometimes it's hard to put words to the feeling. So sometimes it's good to be able to just look at each other and know what you're thinking. Yeah. And that's a privilege. It makes the project more fluid. There's a lot of back and forth. There's a lot of experimentation. And sometimes I think working with a friend that you've known a long time, where sometimes you don't have to say very much, it helps things move and progress. Yeah.
And does the perfumer have to already have visited the city you are working on or not? Or
no. I mean, in some ways it's interesting if they haven't, because then I have to work harder to really bring it to life for them. Yeah. You know, they have to really feel the place. So that's where my job comes in, of giving them the right inspiration. So yeah, I kind of like it when they haven't been to the place, actually. Okay. Because it makes it more interesting and more fresh. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. When you work that way, do you start with the notes, or is it more like the pictures, the experiences, the memories that you have, or?
Yeah, I really want to avoid the notes, actually. Part of that's because I've worked in very big companies in perfumery as well. And, you know, it's a personal choice. I don't like big, I like small, and I like more fluid and more intuitive. But, you know, classically, you have this wheel and you think of the families and you think where the gap is, and that defines the project. And that's really a bit boring to me. I kind of want to say, this is a place I feel something about, a vibration I felt, and that's the starting point. And I don't want to say it's a floral or we need a woody perfume in our range. Of course, I think of that later. You know, I'm not naive either, but I don't want to start a project saying I want a fig perfume. Yeah, because that's a bit boring for me, and it's a bit boring for the perfumer as well. Yeah,
I understand. Yeah, I've done quite some painting when I was young, and when you make a painting, you don't start thinking about the colors you are going to use. You know, you think about the feeling or the image you saw or you remember.
Yeah, it's a very good analogy. Yeah. And I think what's good about that approach for us at Gallivant is that it brings surprises too, because if I think of Tel Aviv, you know, I know Tel Aviv very well. I've been there many times, but I don't personally like jasmine perfumes. I would never have said, let's do a jasmine. That came from Karine. And then it's a jasmine. It is. But I think we've made something very contemporary and fresh and translucent. And it feels to me like a Mediterranean scent, you know, and that was really where I came from.
It's really sunny.
So the fact that we ended up, the fact that we ended up with a jasmine was a surprise to me, actually. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's good. Sometimes surprises can bring you forward.
Yeah.
Nice.
I can see a question.
Yeah,
I can see a question about Traversée du Bosphore.
Yeah, that's also what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, which is a great question. So I did that perfume. So obviously I've always loved travel, and I was doing some, excuse me, travel-inspired perfumes when I was at L'Artisan. And Istanbul was the story behind Traversée du Bosphore.
Okay.
But I really don't think the perfumes are very similar at all. I mean, Traversée is, you know, it's a very douchefort kind of perfume. So it's very complex, but full of beautiful notes. It's quite gourmand, actually. It's quite sweet. It's probably much more colourful as a perfume than our Istanbul is. Our Istanbul is really East meets West. You know, I wanted to take all of the influences of the Middle East, the spices.
Yes. Warm and spicy, and yeah.
You know, it's an Oriental perfume. It's very ambery. And I think, you know, what's interesting is amber is not a note. It's an accord in perfumery. It's a mix of different notes.
Okay.
There isn't a sort of single amber in perfumery.
Okay.
So Corinne created this amber, which is also very aromatic. You know, and we put a lot of spices like cardamom in the top, in the head, and a lot of aromatic red thyme, for example. There's a lot of lavender.
Yes.
There's a lot of geranium. So I think it's taken a sort of idea of an Oriental ambery balsamic perfume, and it's made it very modern feeling. And I love that it's so unisex. I mean, so many men tell me they wear it and they love it. And, you know, I don't know if that's always the case with those very traditional French vanillic ambery Orientals. They tend to feel more feminine.
Okay.
So I think Istanbul is very unisex.
Is this your
And that's Istanbul, yeah.
Okay.
Colours, yeah, very colourful
or something. No.
Yeah. So that's downtown in Beyoğlu, near the water. Yeah.
Okay. Have you been to Brussels already? Yeah, in the past you have visited Brussels.
I've been to Brussels a couple of times, but only for work, and always for really flying visits. So I can't say I know Brussels, I'm afraid. Yeah.
So
not yet.
If I were to ask you how your Brussels perfume would smell like, do you have an idea?
You're going to have to tell me. You're going to have to tell me, and your viewers are going to have to give me some ideas. I mean, in my mind, Brussels is really interesting because it's a mix of a very grand history. There's some very grand architecture, which I think is beautiful. But then it's also contrasted with these smaller houses and this brick. I really think of brick in terms of Belgium and Brussels.
Okay.
So that sort of suggests to me this.
To one of the viewers, Belgian fries apparently. To one of our viewers.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, obviously there are a lot of gourmand inspirations. Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I think
go ahead.
There's a contradiction between the grand history and the smallness. So that I think that would be the departure point. Yeah.
Because Brussels is actually quite a small town compared to other capitals in Europe. And it's not always very much loved by the Belgian people because it has this bit of dirtiness and very mix of cultures or whatever. Yeah. And may not notice, but I'm wearing a shirt with Brussels sprouts on it.
Oh, okay.
But I don't suppose that's an interesting note to make a perfume on. But
I think that's not the first smell I would go to. But you know, I always like the idea of grit. I mean, you know, beauty when it's too perfect isn't very nice for me.
Yeah.
It needs something a bit gritty, and that's why in the London perfume you've got this beautiful rose, but you've got quite a dirty, gritty side to it as well. Leather, animalic notes, suede, patchouli, because it's a humid place normally. So I always like this idea of a little dirty, gritty in perfumes too. Yeah.
So it can't be perfect then, and there has to be some kind of edge.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, I don't know if you picked this up in the Los Angeles, but obviously the tuberose is really very central in the formula. And you know, tuberose is a very big flower. It can go different ways. And actually, the note that I wanted to accentuate in that tuberose was this rubbery plastic side.
Okay.
Which felt right for Southern California. Because, you know, there's a sort of bubblegum fun side to Los Angeles that I didn't want to shy away from. So the kind of bubblegum that people talk about when they talk about Los Angeles, I think is actually their reaction to the tuberose, because we really pushed the rubbery facet of the flower. Yeah.
That's really interesting. Yeah. Okay. Maybe something completely different. A lot of brands talk about being niche, and it's a word that's so often used and maybe not always in the right way. I see different definitions of it. I don't think you use the word niche for Gallivant, or how?
No, not really. Okay. No.
And how would you?
It's a bit like the luxury word. I just don't know what things like niche and luxury mean anymore. But I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
I would rather say we're a small independent brand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of simple, isn't it?
Because I read, I think, on one of your blogs that your mom was helping making the sample boxes at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, my poor mother, my poor parents. Yeah.
So that's
because we sold out of our old ones, and as I was saying, we have less capacity to make anything now in lockdown, because things here in the UK are still not, 100% open. So we improvised, and I made these sets up with stamps, and then I kind of said, I'm too busy, Mum, can you help me? So then my mum took over, and frankly, she does a better job. So yeah, I'm very lucky.
Okay. And has your mum a favorite scent of your collection?
Yeah, my mum wears Istanbul a lot, and Los Angeles. They're her two favorites, and she wears Tel Aviv a lot.
Okay.
And then she wears Amsterdam in the winter. She likes Amsterdam in the cold weather. Yeah.
Okay. Your mom just
but my dad
on the online.
My dad also loves Istanbul.
Okay.
So sometimes my parents are like having an argument, saying, "No, I want to wear it." So yeah, they have to fight it out some days.
The whole family is smelling the same.
Yeah.
Are they still allowed to wear a perfume by another brand, or are they?
Oh yeah. I never say, this is a monopoly. But it's true that, a lot of my friends and family now just wear Gallivant perfumes. And sometimes I have to say to them, in a friendly way, please don't wear the same perfume every day. It's really not good for the nose. You'll get nose blind very quickly.
Yeah, but other people come into our store to look for a signature perfume.
Yeah.
Or wearing the same perfume for years and years and years, and then finally decide to change to something else. That's not your approach then.
No, I mean, listen, I totally understand why people love this idea of a signature scent, because it's something so personal, so comforting. But I'm afraid the animal in us, after about 10, 12 days, becomes acclimated to any aroma in our environment and becomes progressively blinded to it. So you don't smell it so well on yourself. So, you know, we talk about this idea of a fragrance wardrobe, and really part of that is motivated by us as perfumers, knowing that by wearing different materials on different moments, you're going to smell your perfume better. You know, you train the nose, you're recognizing more materials, and I think it's more fun, generally, you know. It's like, I don't want to eat the same food every evening. Much as I love sea bass, I don't want to eat sea bass every night. So it's better for the palate, and I think it's just, you know, variety is the spice of life. So why limit yourself to one perfume?
And is there a difference then between these oils and the perfume if you put it on?
Yeah, I mean, listen, obviously I want to be faithful to the eau de parfum feel, but I'm not working with alcohol in the oils. There's no alcohol at all. So the base is completely natural oils, you know, coconut. So I have to sort of reformulate a little bit the main materials to reproduce the feeling of the perfume.
Okay.
So the feeling of wearing it is different. Yeah. So, for example, my mother, you know, she loves Istanbul. One of the reasons I did the oil was my mother loves dry oils because they nourish the skin. It's really nice to wear them in the summer. And the other thing is you can put them in your hair. I mean, you know, I wear the oils in my hair almost like a styling thing.
Okay. Yeah.
So, you know, you literally just kind of go like that.
Okay.
There's a little demonstration. But they will feel slightly different from the alcohol.
Okay.
I mean, they won't project
so they're more
in the same way.
Yeah, okay.
They're closer to the skin.
Complemented with the eau de parfum. You can.
Yeah, I mean, I sometimes like to wear them alone. You know, and I really do put them on my arms, and I put them on my neck, and even on my legs. And then sometimes I want to put the spray on top to layer it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you have customers that use an oil from one perfume and then the eau de parfum from another one to
I haven't so much had that, but it's funny, you know, we don't own the product. You own the product. And I have a really lovely customer here in London. She's been with me from the beginning, and she's great. And she taught me that Brooklyn, on top of Istanbul, the eau de parfum, is a lovely combination.
Okay.
Really, really great together. So sometimes when people say to me, can we mix the perfumes? I say, you can do whatever you like. You know, if you want to mix a Gallivant perfume with, I don't know, a Francesca Bianchi perfume, I'm sure that Francesca and I are both very happy, and it will be interesting for us both to smell it, you know?
Okay. Yeah.
So I have no problem with that at all. Yeah.
Okay. Are there other questions that came in so far? Currently not, no. They're asking if you are planning to make a Paris smell, I've seen.
That's a bit of a tricky question for me. I mean, listen, I've lived in Paris 3 times in my life. I miss it. I miss my friends there more than the city. I love speaking French. I was very happy working in French and in France. Do I want to do a Paris perfume? Not particularly. I think it's really been done so many times. And I also feel a little bit like, I saw something the other day, and it was all about pioneers in perfume, and every single one of the brands was French. And I just looked at it and I thought, yeah, it's a kind of interesting blind spot that they haven't mentioned one non-French perfumer or non-French brand.
Okay.
And I think for many years, you know, everyone around the world associated Paris with perfume. And that's a great job that the French have done. But, you know, it's not all about Paris. You know, Amsterdam, London, Gouda. There are people making perfume all over the place. So I don't think I want to add to this feeling that Paris is central to everything in perfumery.
Okay. And I just got a question, when is your next launch for your new perfume?
Is there a
good question?
Remind us.
There is Gallivant number 9 is ready.
Really? Do we have a scoop? Or
no. It's an orris. So an iris, like the iris flower, but we use the root, the rhizome, the orris butter, which is one of my favorite materials. I use it already in Brooklyn, in London, in Istanbul, in Tokyo. So I love it as a material. I love to work with it. But this is really putting the orris at the very center of the stage. So I'm hoping it will be ready in September to launch. Yeah.
So now we need to get this.
I'm just. You'll never guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Then it must be.
When I mention
Brussels.
When I mention orris, a few people say to me, "Oh, it must be Florence," and it's a good guess, but it's not. It's not Florence. It's some city much further east. Further east than Istanbul, yeah.
Okay, somewhere in Indonesia.
Not quite, but yeah, in the right kind of direction, let's say.
Yeah, okay. Do our viewers still have any questions? I don't see.
You can ask me anything you like.
Yeah, it's now or never, I guess. Yeah. Do we have a question for us, Nick?
Yeah, there is one that came in. There's one that came in on orris. Did you see it, Nick?
I can't see it, I'm afraid. Can you read it out?
Please tell us about interesting uses for orris that you are inspired by.
Oh, in terms of other perfumes. Do they mean, or?
I'm not sure because it's now gone already.
Okay.
You are inspired by interesting uses of orris you are inspired by. So they're not really talking about different perfumes.
Yeah, I mean, you know, orris is a really interesting material. I think one of the reasons a lot of perfume lovers love it is because it's kind of a bit enigmatic. You know, it's floral, but it really, in many ways, doesn't feel like a flower, like a floral. It's kind of woody, but it's not like a cedar wood or a sandalwood. It's very subtle in a lot of ways. I kind of describe it sometimes as being a little bit like grey cashmere. You know. It's there, it's beautiful, but sometimes you don't notice it.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the attraction to me.
Okay.
It's also just the love of the pure raw material. And when you get the really great quality, it's very addictive. You just really, you know, it puts a smile on my face just smelling the raw material. And it's got so many facets. You know, sometimes there's a carrot facet, which is kind of one of the reasons why, when I was in this place, why orris came to my mind. Because there's a lot of carrot used in the cuisine. So I was taking pictures of the food, and I kind of noticed afterwards, oh, there's carrot in sort of a lot of stuff. So that's kind of one of the inspirations. It doesn't sound too sexy when I say carrot, but believe me, there's an association between carrot and orris when you smell the material.
There is another question in. What was your gateway fragrance, the one which changed the way you think about fragrance as an artistic medium?
Oh, that's a great question. So probably people won't be surprised, but I'm going to say Timbuktu and Zing by L'Artisan Parfumeur. I mean, I was in Paris working for a very big company in the late 90s on commercial big designer perfumery. And I came across this little shop one day, and I went in and I smelt the perfumes and I thought, God, these are interesting. And that shop was L'Artisan Parfumeur. And the first fragrances I bought for myself were Zing, which people may know is an Olivia Jacobetti perfume inspired by the circus. You should smell it, it's just incredible. And also I bought Timbuktu, which I still wear today. I love it, by my great friend Bertrand Duchefort. And I think, you know, the attraction to me of L'Artisan and why I eventually went to work there was because it felt interesting and special and original and all the things that we want perfumery to be. But it also felt fun, and I felt welcome in the shop. And sometimes, you know what, niche, I have not felt welcome. I mean, I won't name the brand. I love many of the perfumes, but the first time I went to his shop in Paris with another perfume person, and we were smelling things, and we almost got like told off. You know, oh no, you mustn't touch, you mustn't smell, you mustn't talk. You know, that's not the attitude we need. So no. So L'Artisan is a great gateway drug, I think, for many people, I believe. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I think
and I hope on some level that Gallivant is a gateway drug of our age, you know? I have a lot of customers that say to me, you know what? I used to wear, you know, the big brands. I bought them in duty free, or I wore Joe Malone. And then I came across Gallivant, and I sort of realized that there's other things out there. So I'm really pleased when customers tell me that. I think that's lovely.
Well, what's in my experience is that the Gallivant perfumes, if I look at our customer base, or the customers who come in, that it's really, they are really fragrances that we can sell to, well, that are bought by men and female alike, and also sometimes very young people, and also people of a certain age. So there really isn't any age or gender you can put on it. Good. Which is really fun if you can get people from 15, 16-year-old already interested and say, wow, this is amazing. That's really fun to see.
You know, one of the questions I used to get asked by the journalists when I first launched was, you know, who is your target customer? And I hate that question because I think it's so irrelevant for perfumery. And I used to sort of say, in all seriousness, fellow human beings, they're the people I hope will wear my perfumes. And they, you know, they want to say, oh, is it like millennials, or is it this person or that person? And I just can't get my head around that thinking. Because one of the beautiful things I think about, you know, artistic perfumery is that it doesn't have a gender. It doesn't say to you, you're this age, so you should be wearing this. I think all of us are saying the same thing. You know what? Smell different things. You decide what you like.
Exactly.
You know what? That's so joyful to witness, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just watching time. Because
we started with your holiday, and somebody from Paris just asked if your holiday went well, Nick.
Oh God, I love Croatia. I mean, there's something a coast that's very unspoilt, and the colours of the water, and the smell of the pine trees, that archetypal Mediterranean smell. It's pure pleasure, yeah.
Maybe, did you have a question for us, just to wrap it up? Or?
Tell me what is the favorite Gallivant in Brussels? What do people like the most?
Our bestseller was, in the beginning, was Tokyo.
Okay.
Yes, and now the runner-up very quickly is Los Angeles.
Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's funny because I won. I'm going to sound like I'm showing off, but I won awards for both of those perfumes.
Okay, so we have
both Tokyo and Los Angeles won awards. Now, obviously, people in Brussels have got very good taste.
They have a good taste, and and the feedback we get from Tokyo is that it's really it's more like a Zen fragrance. People really, it clears their mind and makes them really
Say there's a material in Tokyo called Amaris. It's a sort of wood. And I didn't really know this, but it's got some really calming properties.
Okay.
So maybe that's something people really pick up on from the perfume, that they feel that, and it gives them the Zen feeling. So that's great. I love it when I learn things as well from customers telling me.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, well, thank you very much, Nick, for this wonderful talk.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you
everyone for watching.
Thanks to everybody who tuned in. See you soon in Brussels, hopefully.
See you soon in Brussels, I hope.
Thank you very much.
All the best, guys.
See you in store.
Take care, everyone. Stay safe. Enjoy the heat. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Tot ziens. Au revoir.